Every so often a fight comes along that slips under the radar of casual fans, but sends ripples through the boxing world. Yoshiki Takei vs. Yuttapong Tongdee, set for May 28th in Yokohama, is exactly that kind of matchup. Both men are undefeated, both have something to prove, and both bring a style and backstory that could make this one of the most consequential bantamweight clashes in recent memory. This isn't just about a belt, it's about legitimacy, legacy, and the potential birth of a new star, or the crowning of a road warrior who's been waiting for his moment. Let's break down why this fight matters, what makes each man dangerous, and how the styles, stakes, and intangibles could produce a shockwave in the 118-pound division. Welcome to the Knockout Nest. Yoshiki Takei, at just 28 years old, has already lived 2 combat sports lifetimes. Before he ever stepped into a boxing ring, Takei was a K1 boxing sensation, amassing a 23-2 record and dazzling fans with his blend of speed, power, and unorthodox angles. When he transitioned to boxing in 2021, skeptics wondered if his skills would translate. Most kickboxers struggle with the nuances of the sweet science distance, defense, and the ability to set up punches over longer rounds. Takei, however, was a revelation. He tore through his first 10 opponents, 8 of whom didn't hear the final bell. His southpaw stance, honed in kickboxing, allowed him to create angles that baffle traditional boxers. His footwork is quick and sharp, and his hands are heavy. An 80% knockout rate is rare at bantamweight. But what truly set him apart was his performance against Jason Maloney in May 2024. Maloney, a seasoned world champion, was expected to test a newcomer. Instead, Takei battered him, winning the WBO bantamweight title in dominant fashion. Since then, Takei has shown he's more than just a puncher. In his first defense, he faced Daigo Higa, a former world champion known for his grit and chin. Takei boxed with patience, controlling the fight with his jab and movement, and won a clear decision. Since then, Takei has shown he's more than just a puncher. In his first defense, he faced Daigo Higa, a former world champion known for his grit and chin. Takei boxed with patience, controlling the fight with his jab and movement, and won a clear decision. This ability to adapt to fight both as a destroyer and a tactician makes him a rare commodity in today's game. But with the belt comes pressure. Japanese fans, always hungry for the next Naoya Inoue, have already begun to whisper Takei's name in the same breath. And that's a heavy burden, especially for a fighter still learning on the job. Every fight is now a referendum on his potential greatness. If Takei is the new face of Japanese boxing, Undefeated Tongdee is the embodiment of the Thai boxing grind. At 31, Tongdee has taken the long road to this title shot. He doesn't have the viral knockouts or the highlight reel moments. What he does have is a deep amateur pedigree, a 15-0 professional record, and a reputation as a spoiler. Tongdee's style is all about efficiency. He's an orthodox boxer who relies on fundamentals: sharp jab, tight guard, educated footwork. He's not the fastest or the strongest, but he's almost never out of position. He's logged 83 professional rounds, more than Takei, and has proven he can maintain his game plan over the full distance. His amateur background includes a win over Robeisy Ramirez, a future Olympic gold medalist and current world champion, back in 2017. A testament to his skill and ring IQ, Tongdee's path to this fight has been one of the quiet accumulation. He's fought mostly in Thailand, often against tough local opposition, and has steadily climbed the WBO rankings. His most recent outing, a TKO win over Tanakai Kamun in March 2024, showcased his ability to break down opponents with pressure and precision. He's not flashy, but he's relentless. Perhaps most importantly, Tongdee embraces the underdog role. He's coming into hostile territory facing a champion with national momentum. But for a fighter who's had to earn every opportunity, that's just fuel. He knows that one win, one perfect night, can change his life and his legacy forever. At its core, Takei vs. Tongdee is a classic matchup of explosive offense versus disciplined defense. Takei's strengths are obvious: power, speed, and the ability to create angles most bantamweights never see. His right hook is a weapon, especially against orthodox fighters, and his body shots can sap an opponent's legs in the early rounds. He's aggressive, but not reckless, often using feints and footwork to draw mistakes before unleashing his combinations. Tongdee, on the other hand, is a master of subtlety. He uses lateral movement to avoid exchanges, keeps his jab busy, and looks to counter off his opponent's mistakes. He rarely overcommits, preferring to chip away with volume and accuracy. Against southpaws, his straight right hand and left hook are his best tools. and he's shown an ability to adjust his approach mid-fight. The key tactical questions are clear. Can Tongdee survive Takei's early onslaught and drag the fight into the later rounds, where his experience and stamina become factors? Or will Takei's power and athleticism simply be too much for the challenger to handle? For Takei, this fight is about validation. Winning the title was one thing. Defending it against a dangerous, if unheralded challenger is another. A dominant performance could set up unification bouts with the likes of IBF champion Emmanuel Rodriguez, or the winner of the upcoming Nakatani vs. Maloney rematch. It would also cement his status as Japan's next global boxing star, a heavy mantle, but one he seems eager to carry. For Tongdee, the stakes are even higher. Thai fighters have a proud tradition, but winning a major world title on foreign soil is a rare and celebrated achievement. A victory would catapult him from respected contender to national hero and open the door to big money fights and international recognition. For a fighter who spent his career in the shadows, this is the moment he's been preparing for his entire life. But beyond the belts and the rankings, this fight is about narrative. It's about whether the new wave, embodied by Takei's crossover success and knockout power, could withstand the old-school fundamentals and grit of a seasoned technician. It's about whether hype can survive reality, or whether reality is about to deliver a rude awakening. Every great fight has an element of the unknown, and Takei vs. Tongdee is no exception. Takei is fighting at home, with the weight of expectation on his shoulders. The Japanese boxing public is notoriously passionate, and the pressure to deliver, especially as a heavy favorite, can be suffocating. Will he rise to the occasion, or will the moment get to him? Tongdee, meanwhile, has nothing to lose and everything to gain. Fighters in his position often fight with the freedom and desperation that makes them dangerous. He's used to being overlooked, and that chip on his shoulder could translate into the best performance of his career. There's also the question of experience. Takei has only 50 professional rounds under his belt, and while he's shown maturity beyond his years, he's never been pushed into deep waters by a world-class technician. If Tongdee can weather the early storm and start banking rounds, how will Takei respond? On the other hand, Tongdee has never faced an opponent with Takei's combination of power and athleticism. If he gets hurt early, can he recover and adjust? So how does it play out? The early rounds will be critical. Takei will look to establish his jab, set traps with his footwork, and test Tongdee's defenses with power shots to the head and body. If he can hurt Tongdee early, he'll press for a stoppage and try to make a statement. Tongdee's best chance is to frustrate the champion, stay off the ropes, and force Takei to fight a slower, more methodical pace. If he can survive the first 4 rounds without taking too much damage, the fight could shift in his favor. His experience and composure could start to tell, especially if Takei begins to tire or get reckless. Ultimately, this is a fight where one mistake could decide everything. Takei's power is real, and if he lands clean, it could be over in an instant. But Tongdee's durability and discipline make him a live underdog. The odds may favor the champion, but the ring doesn't care about odds. Yoshiki Takei vs. Yuttapong Tongdee isn't a fight built on trash talk or viral moments. It's a fight built on skill, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. For Takei, it's the chance to prove he's not just the next big thing in Japanese boxing, but a legitimate world champion with staying power. For Tongdee, it's the opportunity of a lifetime, a chance to shock the world and write his name in the history books. On May 28th in Yokohama, 2 undefeated fighters will step into the ring, but only one will leave with the belt. For those who truly love the sport, this is the kind of fight you circle on the calendar, because when the dust settles, you'll want to say you saw it coming. So, who do you have? Will Takei cement his place as Japan's next superstar, or will Tongdee pull off the upset and become the talk of the boxing world? Leave your thoughts and predictions in the comments. One thing's certain, when the bell rings, everything changes, and the bantamweight world may never be the same. We'll see you again when the dust settles on the canvas.